Hello, 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 You Rise family. This is Veronica Rosenfeld, CEO of You Rise Movement. When you clearly know who you are and what is very next for you, you rise to your greatness and step to your destiny. Welcome to Clarity Mastermind. Why clarity? Because without clarity, you can't do anything. It's like air. Like you need to know you're sitting somewhere, you need to know your street number, city, and a zip code. Without that, you can't get your destination. The same in your life and business. Why mastermind? Well, I believe the mastermind is the fastest way, it's a shortcut to your success. Because instead of creating your own bumps and instead of creating your own challenges and figuring out your own challenges, why don't you learn from people who already been there and done that? So, and the frequency of those people will allow you to go faster because your thoughts and beliefs creates frequency, but they already there. So you could get there faster. That's why it's Clarity Mastermind. Welcome. And I'm super excited about guests we have today. So Jacquie Jaeger, she's quite phenomenal woman. And let me, for a second, it's not gonna see me, and I wanna read you her bio. A seasoned marketing and sales leader with a proven track record of building a user acquisition for high-growth companies. Throughout her career as sales director for Fortune 500 companies, she has developed sustainable revenue gains through effective marketing management and strategic business practices. So today we're going to talk about digital marketing, about pay-per-clicks, and the strategies that we can utilize in your business and in your life to move you to the next level. So with all that being said, I'm giving the floor to Jacquie.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Fantastic. Jacquie, you're awesome. I believe in your dream.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Yeah, so a little bit about me. I spent, although she gave my bio, I spent about 20 some odd years in the fashion industry and decided to make a pivot into a more strategic career path that would give me longevity beyond where I had been for the past couple decades. I guess you could say I got a little bored. So I transitioned, and now I've been in digital marketing. I opened my own agency, and I work with a collective group of people that we use based on different client needs. So I want to offer tips on optimization tonight and get you guys talking shop and share tips and make real connections with you and answer any questions that you might have about what's going on in my world in digital marketing. Because I know we use a lot of different language that you may have heard, but you might not understand it. And if any of you have any websites, landing pages, or anything like that that you're have currently or are working on in the future, it's good to know these 5 to 7 tips of like what you really need, and then we can go further. So I'm going to talk about SEO, and you may or may not know what it is. So that means search engine optimization, right? Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Because he went silent, so I didn't know. So it's really about search engine optimization. And what does that mean? It's search engine, like how do you maximize your landing page and your social channels so that they all bridge together and all the platforms make sense and lead you to growth, organic traffic, and paid traffic. And PPC is pay-per-click, and I specialize in pay-per-click and SEO. So when a client comes to me, I really do an audit and I analyze their website, their landing page, and I find all of these different types of things that aren't working. And I'm going to walk you through some easy steps of how you can really make it work from the front end. And then I'll talk about behind the scenes back end, which is the work that you won't be able to do and need an expert like me to get you to that level. What we're seeing right now is it takes about 22 touch points to actually convert into a sale or become loyal to your brand. And those touch points become all part of your website, your platforms, whatever it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Yelp, YouTube. You really need to be on all different types of channels, Twitter, Pinterest. They're all very meaningful and different to each client and each person and personality that's out there. So finding the platform that's right, but knowing that it takes at least 22 times. It was 6 times, but they sort of live in your ecosystem, right? And they figure out if they like what you're doing, they like what the brand is talking about, and then they start to go outside of your ecosystem, look at other brands, compare you, then come back to you before they actually convert. So they're living in this cycle that you want to keep in your loyalty loop. If they go outside the loyalty loop, that's why those 22 or so touch points are really important to bring them back into your loop. So how do we go about it with a landing page? And stop me along the way if anybody has any questions about what I'm talking about. So first and foremost, we need to use analytics. Really, I have a dog too, and I'm fearing that she's going to start barking at any second. So we start with the audit, and we look at how your site speeds are going and what's going on as far as keywords are. And keyword optimization means how many times you're using it throughout your page and how relevant it is to your brand. So if you're a cupcake baking company and you're using our chocolate frosting on our chocolate cupcake is phenomenal, try our cupcakes. We're the #1 cupcake out there, and you should try this type of cupcake and that type of cupcake. You're using the keyword cupcake more than someone that says, we're the best cupcake out there, here are our flavors, and list the flavors. So the more that you're using cupcake, cupcake, cupcake as the example, you're going to rise organically to the top of the search when someone puts in top cupcake in my area. And that's how it works with keywords. So we put key phrase words together and maximize them as much as possible on the front landing page and any other page that's on your landing page or within your site. So that's the first to be foremost and what's really important in optimization. So next would be actually looking at what type of content you have. So is there video content on there? Video content is really, really important because we measure site times and how long the user is on your site. And the best way to get them to stay on your site and sift through your different pages and dwell is we're looking at the dwell time, is have a very curated video or numerous videos of how to or talking about it, or something going through your factory if you have one and showing how to make it, or just like tips of the day or something that keeps them on there. And changing out the video quite frequently is really important. Some people that I work with and stop working with will leave their video on there for a year. And your repeat clients, because we're looking at user retention, like how many times they come back and who's living in your ecosystem, is really important. You don't want to have the same content there living for a year. So you want to change that every 2 to 3 months, just based on old clients and new clients coming through your website. We can also on the back end code the videos with what we call metadata and alt text. So that coding is where an expert comes in and codes the video so that it has extended life value for search engine optimization, that when a crawler comes through from Yahoo, Bing, or Google, they recognize that as extended use of natural keywords, and it's keyword phrases that goes back into that optimization metrics that we talked about. The other really important metric is a blog. So adding blog value, you're talking about different topics, but you're also gaining engagement, right? So the engagement of the blog is really important with the topics that you're talking about and who's following the blog. So you engage in commenting, and that's also really important for search engine optimization to measure the topic, the use, and what traffic is going. So the more traffic you have coming to your site, the more people that are interacting with your site, you also rise to some of the top pages and top of the feed in search engines organically without having to use paid advertising. So there's so many different touch points, but those are 3 of the top key touch points that you can very easily do and measure on your own without having to hire someone. Next is making sure that your social icons are present on your site. I come across so many different brands and clients that reach out to me that have their social icons at the very bottom of the page. I just did an audit for a company and I compare all their competitors. In doing so, I came across 20 different sites in a certain field with broken links to their social platforms, where you would go to the icon, you would click it thinking it was going to lead you to Facebook or lead you to Twitter, and they were broken links. So you want to make sure that they're present, they're big, they're up in the top corners or down at the very bottom, very present, not in the lower corner. You want to make sure that the links are working properly. So there's very easy steps to find on Google to make sure that you're measuring your links, and making sure that they're working. So it's really important that those channels are up and running, because you don't want someone to come to your page and have a broken link. Which makes it great for me, because now I know there's a whole new category out there that I can chase after, and 20 new clients that I can go after based on the audits that I do. Next was really going back to who's your target audience, right? And really defining who your target audience is and what the importance of that is. And I really would say that that's our first step before we get into any of these other metrics. Is I often have to go back and do a target demographic and persona identification, because I get brands that will launch and not knowing what their target market is. They haven't analyzed any of their competitors. They don't know what that space looks like, right? So they've launched and they're wondering why they have minimal sales, or why they can't find their customer through digital marketing. So what I have to do is go back and develop these different personalities and find out where they are in the marketplace. So you really want to do that work up front. If you haven't done it, you really need to go back and identify, I am a watch company, these are my competitors, this is what the landscape is, and my watch looks just like them. How am I going to find my audience, and where are they? Usually they can live right in your backyard, and they're right in your regional area, and you should really work your regional market first before you start reaching out to the entire United States, right? Because once you put that website up there, that's basically what you're doing. And then it's up to someone like me to come back and target and identify who the customer is, where the demographic is, and where we're going with the brand, and how you want to get them into your ecosystem. A lot of brands that have stepped into paid marketing and haven't done any of that will see very little conversion. Conversion is when a client comes to your website and they are interested in your brand and they turn into a sale. We also look at conversion as them shopping it, putting into the cart. That's one measure of conversion, is we actually got them through the front door into the house and shopping around and then leaving it. So we measure different metrics on what we're looking at, and it's how many times did it take them to convert. Is it one step purchase? It's now up to 6 times before they convert, or 5 times before they convert into a sale. So it means that the importance of your social icons are speaking to them and the way that they need to be spoken to actually get the sale. And it's really important that we're looking at all of those things before we develop the website. But like I said, I get a lot of customers that have already, have a product, launched it, and have a website, and are sort of stuck in a phase of like a lot of traffic coming, the minimal sales coming through. And one client in particular, that watch company that I was referencing, launched a brand into a really highly competitive, overly saturated market without any market research. Great branding, great product. The watches were about $900 to $1,000, but he only had 2 products, right? So when you're launching in a market that's overly saturated, what's so special about your watches? How do we speak to it? And why are we launching in this market unless it's a new technology, right? That's going to separate you from Movement and Tasato and, you know, all these high-end other brands. Well, no market research was done. The person spent a lot of money, in the upwards of $60,000, launching these watches, and no conversion metrics and no sales. I did everything that I possibly could, you know, touched on all the touch points, but you can't launch with 2 products in a competitive market. So had we done the research, maybe he would have split out, maybe he would have held back, and maybe he would have added some different technology, although it was Swiss Movement. You know, so you really have to think about all of these things and looking at your landscape before you step into digital. So I very kindly said, you know, we need to part ways, and laid it out a grassroots marketing campaign for him. So I transitioned digital into grassroots, and grassroots is really when you're looking at craft fairs, who's the market and who is actually going to buy this. So I can transition into grassroots. I lead with digital, and then I really find the best fit for the customer. And since we're talking about best fits, it's really important to talk about best fits in social platforms. And looking at, you know, Facebook and Instagram are the instant go-tos for brands, right? And they think, and let's talk about that for a second, because I think it's really important, because a lot of people think that Facebook and Instagram are social networking channels. But on my side, they are just as big as Amazon in selling product, and they've transitioned their platforms to selling platforms versus social networking platforms. And so I think everybody should pay attention to what you're seeing on Instagram and Facebook these days, as opposed to the difference in what you're seeing Amazon do, because they're in certain categories like beauty, there are brands that are born out of Instagram, that they have hit the 5 to 10 million mark, basically just selling product on Instagram alone. So seeing that where you're engaging with your friend network, but you really can monetize everything that you have brand-wise on Instagram and Facebook, instead of looking at it just in the social metric. So we monetize. We look at how and what's the platform to monetize the brand on the social platforms. And it's really specific to the brand. I work a lot in Facebook, and I really only do pay-per-click in Facebook as well as Instagram. My leading pay-per-click is Google. Google is more expensive for brands, but we lean on Facebook because you can get a lot of traffic and conversion for a less amount of money. And we're talking about daily boost for $10, where in Facebook, where $10 will not get you, but maybe 30 minutes of search engine time, you know, search rise time, in Google AdWords, right? So, like I was starting off with, Instagram and Facebook are the leading go-tos naturally, but sometimes they're not the right fit for every brand. And if we look to Pinterest for some brands, their algorithms aren't as strong and aren't as difficult to get around as Facebook. Algorithms are the metric that drive all the activity that happens on all the networks. And all the platforms. It's what drives Amazon's business to find the lowest price out there and price match. So they've matched all of those algorithm feeds. And I will tell you that Google changes their algorithm for search engine SEO at least 500 times in a year. So Facebook and Instagram change their algorithms sometimes daily. So finding your path as a digital marketer and someone who is new to these social channels that wants to monetize, you really need an expert to help you manage your social media and get through those algorithms to monetize it. It takes at least 50 consecutive sales in a row on Facebook for you to get high into the feed and drive the traffic to conversion immediately on your site. But enough said about that. Leading into Pinterest, they don't have as heavy Instagram, they don't have as heavy algorithms, they don't change it as frequently. So we can lead more sales sometimes on Pinterest because I think about 60% of their client is female and they make over $100,000 a year. So for a clothing brand that's having a tough time getting out of that 50 consecutive sales, we'll move them over to Pinterest, right? And start doing Pinterest ads and growing that way. And it can be really strong. I have one client that has gotten tremendous sales out of YouTube alone. We don't even touch Facebook. We don't even touch Instagram, but we're on Twitter and we're on Reddit and we're on YouTube. So it's really finding your platform and your voice where your customer is going to convert. And it doesn't necessarily happen as easily as we think it happens. New brands, it takes about 6 months before you get into that phase of conversion because it's all about brand awareness. Brands that have been on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest, they can convert pretty easily, and it takes minimal cash to do that. And ad budget is what I say, cash to do it. You know, you have to really think about your budget before you start getting into pay-per-click because you can absorb a lot of money really fast without having it. I have clients that we don't start doing pay-per-click until we've gotten some heavy growth out of our platforms, just engaging with brand influencers and whatnot. And I personally don't engage with brand influencers. I partner with an agency that does. So I start it once they have their brand influencers up and going, and then I measure the analytics with timed ads, with what their engagement is like and who they're going after. So I'll do a paid ad, lead the traffic, and then it starts to convert naturally, timed with what the brand influencer has on their side bringing over, right? So I convert organically at about the rate of 20 to 30%. When I have a brand influencer on board supporting that with a PR firm, we're converting at 60 to 80% with about 11,000 people to 12,000 people coming through the site on a daily basis, right? So that's the kind of traffic that we're looking at, and that's the traffic that I drive. I've taken people from 600 people visiting a site in a month to 12,000 in a month, and to the upwards of 40,000 with a 60 to 80% conversion rate on about, with this person, she'd been in business for about 12 years and we were looking at $1,200 total spend, which is pretty amazing. For a normal person who's just starting out, we'll start on Facebook Boost with about a $300 budget, and we don't see conversion, like I said, after about 6 months. So it's about brand building, right? And going back to what I was saying in the beginning, making sure all touch points are all aligned with SEO metrics, starting that first, really looking at target demographic, who it is, what are they looking for, and how are we going to find them? And that's really an important metric because you don't want to go across the United States. You want to find out, like, where are missed markets and what's the white space. And people want to lean on California and New York, but there's a lot coming out of Texas. There's a lot coming out of the South because they're not overly saturated markets because they're not heavily marketed. So you can easily find markets across the United States that are really interested in your product, that aren't seeing it on a day-to-day basis, right? That aren't heavily targeted to. We also step outside of the millennial target age group and we go higher, right? So a lot of my clients get a lot of revenue generated out of that 35 to 55-year-old range because they're not heavily marketed to. So you really need to find out, I mean, obviously if it's a new bubbly pop soda, you know, in the beverage market, we're not marketing. It just really depends on who it is because you want to target the millennials to get them because they're usually the first adopters. But what we're seeing now is a transition in the early adopters to an older age group where they'll talk about it and they will convert faster because they're not being overly marketed and they don't have 50 ads coming through their feed a day, because they're not on Instagram enough to like show up as many shopping times, because I'm on Instagram, you know, all day long, and I get heavily marketed to. So every single thing that pops up is a shopping, is a paid ad for sponsors, right? And you'll see that if you're on Instagram a lot, or Facebook. So I can't view it like a regular person anymore because I'm heavily on it. So I get targeted a lot for a lot of things. So I have to establish other accounts so I can see what's happening naturally. And I also use my Instagram and Facebook as testing grounds for my team to test growth metrics and whatnot. So that's kind of like an overarching idea of what a day in the life of my optimization looks like. And if we go back to the 7 easy steps that you can do very easily and on your own, is just, if you're writing the copy and putting the content, add some little videos. It's very easy to do. It's really easy to do with Spark Video. I don't know if anyone's on Adobe Spark. You can make graphics on there. They have all the templates. You just have to sign up, and you can make videos on there. It's really easy, and you can change them really frequently. Going back to blog writing, you don't have to come up with your authentic blog writing. It's really easy to, you know, rip off somebody else's and put your own words into it to establish an idea and change the wording up a little bit, or put written by. What I use a lot when I'm working on blogs is I put in, we really love this article and we want to share it with you. So you're sharing the article, you're giving the credit to the person, and it's still driving traffic because you can link that article to your actual page and drive cross traffic. So that's a really big SEO measurement, right? So there's so many different ways to do it, but you know, I come across a lot of people that are like, I don't have time at the end of the day. I don't know what to think about. I don't know what to do. And I just suggest that, like, find the articles that you love and then suggest them and put them out there in the marketplace. You know what I mean? And that's another way to get around it if you're not really great at writing your own blog, right? So it's an easy bypass to having to like focus on what the content is going to be all the time. There's also apps out there where you can use scheduling, and that's also very free, because I come in to a lot of entrepreneurs that are, you know, busy on their day job and they have got their side hustle going, right? And their side hustle, they feel like they want to focus on one area, but they don't want to sit there and focus on how they're going to write their social media and what content is going to come up on it. I use Later, which is free, and you just download the app and you can schedule an entire month's Instagram feed through Later. So we use a lot of these scheduling apps to help us and support us with clients that, you know, don't have the time, and obviously we don't have the time to spend every single day figuring out what I'm going to post that day. So I go in and I schedule 2 weeks in advance. It takes me about 5 to 6 hours for a client to get all the content, write all the copy, and put it in Later. They can review it. They can tell me what they like, what they don't like. They can change it, right? And we can figure out, if we have 2 weeks in there, what actually works and what doesn't, and we can change it. But at least there's content in there and it's scheduled. So I'm giving you that tip so that you don't have to sit here and think about at the end of the day, great, what am I going to post? You can sit there on a Sunday or a Saturday or whatever your free time is at 1 a.m. or 6 a.m. and start putting these things into Later. And there's also Planoli, and there's also Social Baker. I mean, there's a lot of different ones out there. They all offer a free program, but it's based on the size of your pictures, or you can just do $9 a month. They're subscription based, and you know, basically pay, and then you can do stories and IGTV through Later. I usually get my clients on $9 plan. I mean, it's nothing in the big picture of things. It makes it very easy and very simple to do. Since we're talking about paid subscription plans, I know a lot of you have probably heard about paid followers, and all of those types of things that you can do to grow your social networks. But I would highly recommend that you don't use any paid services at this time. Instagram has gone through over the last year, wiped out about over 1 million paid, more than 1 million actually, because they have 2.3 billion coming through. So just in a snapshot of 6 months, they wiped out 765,000 Instagram accounts that were using paid followers or had paid for followers. Their whole thing right now is all about organic feeds. Same with Facebook. We know a well-known brand influencer who all of her, basically, she was completely monetized. They shut down her account, overnight, and she lost all of her revenue because she was using a service that got shut down. And anyone who's using the service and the service gets shut down, anyone who's paying along with it gets wiped out. So we don't support any paid services that are paid followers, and it's hard for me to work with someone who has paid for 11,000 followers because it's not their demographic. And I did have a client who paid for 11,000 followers, got them overnight, and I looked, and it was a female clothing brand, and their highest engaging, customers on Instagram were males from Istanbul. Now, they're not going to convert. They're just looking at it because we had pretty models, right? So you want to make sure that you have your base is organic and you're engaging a lot. So I'm sure you may have heard, or you may not have heard, that Instagram is taking away likes. And the reason why they're doing that is they want engagement. They want to see negative and positive engagement. You could have the best, most beautiful picture up there, and you're not going to get anybody on your Instagram engaging with you because they need negative. They need people going on there and ranting and sticking up for other people. So the best thing that you can do is start like a rant, or start an Instagram group through DM, and you tell them when you're going to post, and you tell them to go on there, and you tell them to actually write something like, love this. This is the best picture. This is the best image. Love this picture, love this, or whatever, and use 3 different emojis, and then have about 10 friends doing that to every single one of your images, and you're going to surge to the top of the feed. If you do nothing and you rely on likes, you're going to have a really tough time over the next 6 months. They haven't come out with what they've replaced it, but they've started testing it in Canada, and I've already seen the test model. So it will show 1 like, and then you have to tap on the like to show the other people that have liked it. So it won't show that the brand or Instagram feed has any likes, because they want you back engaging. So those are some really insider tips that I'm giving you guys for anybody who's on Instagram, to just be really, really cautious. Facebook, on the other hand, has already made it extremely difficult for newer brands to get started and get launched. That's why we're relying, on Pinterest and YouTube. And YouTube just today released some really ugly stipulations for video creation. So we're going to have to go back and work through those algorithms. So on my team, I have algorithm experts who are monitoring those algorithms every single day. We call them our scientists, on how to grow each brand. So my agency is a little bit different than some other agencies that are out there. The fact that we are monitoring those algorithms on a daily basis and trying to find the ways around them. So a lot of agencies will just put you into a pay, follow, unfollow, pay subscription plan, like I was talking about, that you don't want to do, and just start posting. But what's really special about us is we monitor the algorithm, we get you around the algorithm, and we also get you leading hashtags, and we monitor all the hashtags that are going on inside the social media. So you might be a camera brand or a watch brand, but we have you tagging Los Angeles, New York, anything that is over 2.3 million posts a day, or over 50,000, or at least 1 million posts, because those hashtags can drive the traffic back to you without having likes. So in my test, I wake up sometimes at 6 a.m. and I start engaging and I start going on other people's Instagrams and I emoji, I comment, I do everything above. And the method is commenting. You rise to the top of the comment feed between the surge hours of 6 and 8. And then within 30 minutes, I had 100 instant followers organically. So it's just timing it with when the feed is kicked in and when you can sync with it. And you have to find that feed. I found it, and so I use that metric with all my clients is we go in on certain times, which is high engagement, and start posting and using the metric. And you'll see a lot of fall off and drop off, so you have to keep going back and forth. And so this ties into SEO. So I'll bring it full circle for you guys, because all of your platforms, those hashtags can be embedded in the back end of your site and drive traffic, right? So it syncs in with your platform and SEO. So we can embed the hashtag on your site behind images and in the metadata. Metadata is what we code into your site that also drives a description. So there's full circle with your social platforms and your website and your landing page, which is really, really important to do. Which is why the first tips are things that you can take care of on your own. And then now I'm giving you insider tips, which we handle. And, I'd highly advise you not to even get involved in any of this unless you really know what you're doing. Because it can, you can wipe out your entire site and screw up the coding really bad to where you'll have 404 code errors come when people land on your page, which is what you don't want to do. So that's really, like I said, it comes full circle because hashtags is really important. Engagement is really important. Blogs are really important because you can get engagement out of blogs. You can get reviews out of blogs, and video content is king. So video content, you'll see has moved. You don't see as many people posting pictures in their feed anymore. It's gone into IGTV and stories. So people are just now posting in their stories, right? So that video content and whatever it is you have to say, and it really doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're engaging with your audience all the time. So when you're someone that's out there on a regular rotation and you really want to grow your social channels and you want to have organic traffic, you're going to have a link in your bio to your site. You're going to say exactly what it is. You're going to be doing stories, and you're going to be posting every single day of the week. So that's what it looks like in our world. That's why scheduling in later is really important, because we have posts going out once, sometimes twice a day for our clients. And it's really overwhelming for someone who is doing this all by themselves and trying to run a business at the same time, right? So they can't find enough hours in the day. Social media is the last thing that happens, and anything with their website aside from putting new products on there. So finding someone that can help you with that is really, really important. Or piecing it out in times of the day. Like today I'm going to work on my blog. Today I'm going to upload new video content. And today I'm going to load into later. It's really important that you get yourselves on schedules if you're doing it by yourself. And do I have any questions or confusion along the way, or not understanding, or want me to backtrack about anything? Let me know, because I'm happy to review things with you guys as I'm kind of moving through all these moving parts of social media and SEO.
What can you repeat what you said about the emojis? You said something about posting emojis as comments.
Yeah, perfect. So there's a method when you come to posting, right, and engaging, and it's really simple. Is using at least three emojis. So for me, I just use 3 black hearts. It doesn't matter what it is. Pick the 3 that you love and write. And mostly all I really write is love it and black hearts. 3 okay. Black hearts.
I literally just tried that out today, and I hadn't seen the results. So that was something I just kind of came up with. So it's nice that you have confirmed that that's a good move.
Yeah, it's perfect. And that's all you really should be doing. Wipe out the likes. I mean, because as soon as they do the test phase in Canada and it either works or doesn't, they're moving it very fast in the US, and their test phases are just a couple weeks.
Okay. Thank you. That's
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, make sure you're doing it and just keep going on and just find the people that you love or like or want to bring them over to your page, top influencers. I really look at how many followers do they have, right? So it's really important that you're engaging with people that are in the 5,000 and up, right? So someone that has 200 followers isn't really going to be able to give you, not that 200 followers is bad, but I'm just saying, like, you want to be engaged because they have more people coming through their feed, right? So the more you're engaging on these high traffic sites with like love it, like it, emoji, 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 they're going to come back over to you. So when I'm doing it just as testing, right? When I'm in the 6 to 8 or 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. range, I'm on high profile sites. Like for my own personal, I engage with car enthusiasts. So I go into every single motorcycle, every single car enthusiast, and I post those. So I pop up first thing, and then within an instant, I start getting people immediately. So look at who they are, look at their following, and look at some of their comments that they have, and you'll be able to tell, like, is this someone who's going to convert over, and am I going to be able to get followers out of them? So, and it's pretty consistent, I can tell you that. It happens late at night and it happens really early in the morning. It's the middle of the day when the feed is exhausted with tons of people engaging. So it's those times where you'll catch the feed. If you're gonna use hashtags, I say keep it 15 and under. Don't over hashtag, because what happens is you'll get slapped to the bottom of the feed, right? So those are just some really easy, manageable tricks. And I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people think that now they just go on and like, and they're not really looking at the profile of the person and what's happening on that page. And so I advise you to really look at what and who. And it doesn't, and follow. So you have to follow some people at the same time. And you want to keep your you want to keep your followers low. You don't want to be someone who has 2,000 followers and is following 10,000 people. You need to keep it aligned where it's 2,000 followers and you're only following 500. You know what I mean? So as you grow, you want to start kind of finding out who's really important to you and who's engaging with you, and then wiping out the people that are just sitting there doing nothing. So you kind of have to look at this full spectrum from if it's just you. You know, when we're in an agency, because we have growth metrics, we really bypass all of those things. But I know some of you might just be managing it and need to get to a level where you can afford someone helping you. There's a lot of people out there that you can get that want to learn about these things or want to partner, so you can get a lot of interns really easily from local schools because they need the experience testing out metrics and whatnot of people that are going into social media. So it's something to think about, you know, if you guys are out there and finding yourselves not having enough time, you know, just get an intern to come into your home or wherever your office is and download later. Tell them this is the type of content that you want and have them go after it. Do I have any more questions?
I do have another question. When you said to follow people who have some 5,000 or more followers, or I'm sorry, not follow, but comment on people who have 5,000 followers or more, is it because their followers are reading the comments? Do people actually go through and read the comments that much?
They do. And what happens is you'll rise to the top of the comments and you won't be at the bottom, and people will see that and they appreciate it, so they'll like you back, right? So yeah, it's just that there's a lot of engagement. So there's a lot of, those are higher trafficked sites. Not everyone is paid. Not everyone has paid followers. A lot of people are really engaging a lot more, you'll see. So it's important. And that it's not like someone who has 1,500 is just as important. I would just stay away from, like myself, you know, it's hard to say, but that 200 range, you're not going to get, it's hard to get their following over to you, right? Where someone who has a lot of followers, they're on there all the time. They're looking for new people to follow, right? And you can also do follow, unfollow yourself too.
I do that too.
Yeah. but you'll see like it goes way really fast. So you'll get people and they fall away. So, you know, you want to have people that are going to stay with you. The last time I did this, because I really get so absorbed with my clients, that I'm not kidding you, I was amazed. I went, it was like 5:45 a.m. and by 7:30, I had 100 followers and they haven't gone anywhere. They have stayed. And so every time I do that, I get 20 to 30, you know, and then they stick, and then I just keep raising it and raising it. So, you know, that's how we keep testing it. And I go back and forth, you know, and then we have other metrics, which I won't get into because it's very scientific, where we grow people's Instagram, you know, to, you know, 40 to 50 to, my husband keeps texting me all this stuff and I'm like, I've got this thing going on. So that's how we kind of look at everything, and we get a little bit heavy into it. And those are for, you know, high paying clients that get this really exclusive where we grow them. Looks organically, but it's not. It's a scientific method where we get them up to 50,000 over a 6-month period, right? So we also, you know, there's a lot of things out there that you guys might see and you're looking at and like understanding how, but there's people like us that go in and we do user reviews, we do comments, we do engagement, and it looks organic, but it's coming from an agency. So don't get distracted because a lot of people are doing things like that. So, you know, I'm here to just shed some light on that, because before I did this, I always looked and I was like, how is this person 40,000 followers? And before 3 years ago, everybody was paying for followers, paying for likes, and they grew overnight. And, you know, we're looking at, you know, all these, the Jenners and everyone who's trying to, everyone's trying to model after them. And I would say one thing, if you want to get one thing right, look at Kylie Jenner's feed and look exactly what she's doing, because she has a team of ninjas on her feed constantly. And if you do exactly what they're doing, because you'll notice she uses no hashtags. She just uses her one, like Kylie lips or whatever it is. So follow, the trick is if you want to do it, just follow exactly what you see in her feed and you'll grow, right? So if she's just using, look at her engagement and look at her post and look at what she says. So she might just use one hashtag, but she's built the hashtag to herself. So that's what's driving her traffic, aside from her team of ninjas. But they really have got it nailed down. That's what you'll see with a lot of these brand influencers that have reached 1 million plus and are verified. They've got a team that is managing their social media and has cracked their code that works for them. But they've got so much going on that they don't really need it, but it helped them get to that level, right? So I would say that's one little trick to do for someone that's managing it themselves, is look, and whoever, Paris Hilton, you know, just match and watch these. And I know that it's cheesy, but you've got to watch these super high profile people who have managed to, and, you know, those two women were born out of social media. You know what I mean? If you look at everything. So if you just kind of mirror what they've done and some other super high profile people, you'll kind of catch the trend of what's going on. You know, because it's going to change, especially after likes, and we don't know what's coming after, but I'm sure something dynamic. But make sure that you're doing a lot of highlights, a lot of stories, and IGTV. Because like I said before, your feed could be phenomenal, but nobody really cares about your images. They want to know like what you're talking about, where you've been, what you're selling, and it's in stories and IGTV. So do you follow any yoga influencers or, right? So you'll see that category, like all of a sudden there's this huge burst of doTERRA oils. I don't know if you've noticed that. So you're going to start seeing that because all of those high profile yoga influencers, they were all supported by Alo Yoga. So all these major athletic brands came and scooped up all these people and said, great, go do all these poses. We'll give you all the outfits, just talk, talk, talk. And they were endorsed by Alo Yoga. So Alo Yoga made them. And now all of a sudden doTERRA has gotten a hold of them. And now they're all branching out into this multi-tiered marketing sales funnel, which is doTERRA oil. And doTERRA is in every single one of their feeds, right? They're not even posting. The last one that I looked at, she doesn't even post anymore in her regular feed. She's just all about Instagram stories and IGTV, and that is it. So sort of follow the trail of that. You know, if you like, those are some of the tips that we look at, like what is transitioning, because I'm only looking to monetize, right? So I'm only looking at what are brands doing and how are they infiltrating social media, right? Because the problem that we have with one of our clients is supplements aren't allowed to be on social media. So we have to go around it and start getting, and same with doTERRA oil, they can't sell on social media. So you have to figure out all these other tricks to monetize. And that's a way of monetizing, is getting other people to endorse your products and talk about it so that the traffic goes back to the brand. And so for whatever you're doing, whatever your brand is, whatever your product is, if you're talking about it in stories all the time and you're telling people where to go and what to do, like sign up for our newsletter on our website, get 20% discount, and that's in your Instagram stories, what are people going to do? They're going to go directly to your site. So you're driving cross traffic back to your site. So you always want to be driving traffic to your social channels and to your site. So it all becomes part of your ecosystem and everyone stays loyal, right? So I'm trying to bring it back home for you guys so you understand everything. Any other questions?
Ray, do you have questions? Ray joins us all the way from Africa at 4 o'clock in the morning. I applaud you.
Yeah, so now's the time to jump on and get some followers. Yeah, I applaud you too. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, Ray?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm okay.
Okay,
Are you
great.
sure?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Jeremiah, do you have questions?
Yeah. Is there too many hashtags that you could put onto a blog post?
Yeah, you know, they haven't really monitored the blog post as much. It's just really social channels because of what it does to your feed. So I think blogs are okay, but I wouldn't use any more than 30 on anything, right? Yeah. Because sometimes you can over hashtag things and then you lose people. So you really want to make sure that you're using things that you think are really highly trafficked. So things that are, you can specialize your hashtag, right? And use things that really, you know, like, here's a stupid one, pre-workout, because that's an effervescent energy tablet. Like pre-workout is like new to the workout world. So we want to use it because we want to brand it to our brand inherently. But you don't want to start using super long ones that people have to kind of dissect, like, what does this really mean? Like, workout guru, you know, you want to keep it short and sweet, and you want to make sure that you're using things that might be high trafficked. In this instance is workout guru, workout junkie, you know, things like that you think, and you can go in Instagram, and I'll tell you how you can check this. If you go into your Instagram feed, right, and you click in the top corner, you'll have 3 dots, you hit it and it says edit. Go into your hashtags, right? Like you're going to edit your hashtags and start typing in hashtag X, and it will tell you how many posts have been per hashtag that day, and you can check each one of your hashtags. And you want to use wherever you're based, and I don't know where you're based, but Los Angeles has over 60.
He's based in Alabama.
Okay, so Alabama, I'm sure, and I haven't checked it, but we could do it really quickly. It's just do hashtag Alabama. So keep that in every single one of your blog posts, and you can check it in Instagram, what the traffic is and how many posts there are per site per day, right?
Cool.
So Los Angeles has over 64 million posts, hashtag Los Angeles, 64 million posts a day, right? And those are easy benchmarks to know, like, what you should be using, and keep it simple. You know, because everyone, you know, think keep it simple, stupid. Like everything should be very simple so that you can convert and keep them in your ecosystem. Hope
Makes
that
sense.
answers your question. Yeah.
It absolutely did. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Yeah.
I also I like how your last name is Hunter, and then you've got a trophy mount behind you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's like hunting for me is hunting clients.
That's awesome. See, my
Yeah.
mom's German last name is Schneider, which means tailor, but I'm terrible at putting clothes together. So
Right, exactly. And I'm glad you understood that. Yeah, because it is German and it does mean not too many people know that. And they say Jaeger, but I pronounce it Jaeger the American way.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. All right.
I could ask questions all day, so I don't want to just jump in, but I do have a couple of just questions if anyone else doesn't have any other questions.
No problem.
Yeah.
Go
Um,
ahead.
I got to get going. You guys are the best.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
You guys are all going to get your dreams. Peace.
You too.
My quick question is, I have an online course and I'm using Teachable as the platform, and I'm wondering, do you think it would be good to move all of my content on Teachable over to just a blog, or is Teachable a pretty good platform?
Teachable is a good platform. I mean, I don't know. I'm not that familiar with Teachable, but you can dual. You can do Teachable, and then you can drive the traffic, check it out in my blog, or you can say something like, check out my content on Teachable and promote your content on your blog. That's on Teachable. So it's about crossroad. If you're successful there, I wouldn't say change a thing. You know what I mean? If you're getting conversion and you have followers and people are like, and I apologize that I don't know that platform because I stick with the others that we mentioned, Twitter, Reddit,
Right.
those.
Well, right, because it's not a social media. And so I'm using Instagram to drive people to Teachable, but I'm wondering if I would maybe do better if it was just a blog rather than an online course platform.
Yeah, you might too, but how is Teachable? Is it converting for you? And do you have people coming and looking at your courses?
It's a free course, so that's why I'm not trying to spend money on this. It's more of a ministry than a business. But I've got people signing up, but I'm wondering if I could get more signups if it were a blog rather than Teachable. I'm just seeing if you knew anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, the more you're driving, promoting both and letting people know, it can't hurt. It's just advertisement. You know what I mean? And a blog is really good for talking about more in depth about your courses, about the meaning behind it and why it's important to you, to put this free content out there. And that's really important because people like to know you, and they want to know what behind it and why you're so passionate about that. So talking about the passion really ties it together and what those courses, why you're offering it for free. You know what I mean? So that's amazing because there's not a lot of free courses. And I would say YouTube is, have you done anything on YouTube?
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of video content.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's another thing is talk about it at the end of your training, say, visit my blog, visit Teachables, and just because I think that's a big miss with a lot of people that they think they're on one platform so that their followers are going to know automatically to go to these other channels, but they might not know. Because I know someone who was doing a podcast and someone asked him a question like, what do you want to tell our followers right now? And he said, buy my product, but he didn't tell them where to buy the product. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you really kind of have to spell it out for people. So I think that's a miss. It's you really have to constantly chat your website up, chat your blog up, and after everything, say, visit blog, blah, blah, blah. It's on my website and visit my free courses on Teachable. And you may be doing that already. I don't know, but I'm just calling it out because I see it's a big miss across a lot of people that are doing, they automatically think and assume that people are going to naturally know about those, or that those people are going to their website and can find their blog. You know what I mean? So, you have to have that blog front and center and put it at that bottom so that people know link to blog here. I don't know, but
I guess it couldn't hurt to have a blog too. I don't have a blog I have a blog, but it's unrelated. So I could create one. I just didn't know if it was. I guess my bigger question though is, Can you tell me about Instagram TV? Because I don't know, like, how, I mean, I know what it is, but what's the benefit?
Yeah, so your stories will go to, it's longer video content. Stories is shorter snapshot time frames. It's longer content. It was put up to compete with YouTube, basically.
Right.
And it slow to grasp, but it's just so you can have your story go on for 5, 10, 15 minutes, right? Versus just a couple seconds at a time. So,
and is it live? Like you can only watch it if it's live, or how does that?
No, it stays in IGTV. So it's like little, like, you know how YouTube has the rest of your feed? It stays in little channels. So it's like it's like YouTube subscription channels, but it's IGTV. So it operates exactly the same. So if you go into someone, you'll see it looks like a little TV and it has static. Click it and you can see their other sessions that are in there that are saved.
And all their followers see that, or who sees that?
Yeah, all their followers see it. You know how you have highlights at the bottom? IGTV is the beginning highlight. So you would click on that. And what happens is if you can do IGTV and link it to your story. So it will start out as a story and then a little pop-up will say to see more, click this, and you go to IGTV.
That's how I saw IGTV, and I didn't know what that was or what it was good for.
It's longer content. And when they started testing it, they just weren't sure if people were going to engage, but it's starting to really take off. And you're seeing a lot of these major influencers only use IGTV and stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start using it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is someone else trying to chime in?
No, we are all good. Good.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
do you have a question or are we good?
Yeah, we are good. We are good.
okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's good, you guys. I mean, unless anyone has anything else, and if you want to chat with me, I am Jacquie at agency17.com, and you can see how my name is spelt, and agency17 is spelt out, so it's JACQUIE at agency17.com. I'm happy to answer any other questions that come up.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you so much, Jacquie. This was super, super insightful.
Wonderful,
Yeah,
great. Thank you.
You helped me to understand that I'm doing everything backwards, so thank you so much.
And help me understand I'm doing it all right.
Well, that's
Yay!
That's when that I need to spend with you a weekend, and maybe you can teach me everything that you're doing right.
I've been just figuring it out as I go, so it's nice to have an expert tell me, yes, you are on the right path.
Well, I'm glad you're trying different things. You know what I mean? A lot of people just don't get out there and do the things that they need to do, you know? And I'd also, if you're not familiar with Reddit, it's a streaming feed, right? And a lot of things are happening on Reddit. So kind of get familiar. And is your demographic a lot of females?
It's actually the people who seem most interested in my course are middle-aged men. Which is great because I have a lot of connection, you know, like the Bill Murray type, right? You know, I even follow #Bill Murray. But the thing is, there's not a lot of middle-aged men posting on Instagram. I mean, they're there, but they're not very active. So I have to get kind of creative.
They're on Twitter.
Twitter?
Yeah.
I started doing a Twitter, and then I started getting a bunch of tweets from Donald Trump, and it was weird, and I turned it off.
Yeah, I mean, you can block him, but I mean, it's very male driven is Twitter, and same with Reddit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's so helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, I've got to run, Veronica. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. I really appreciate it. I love doing this. Have me back.
Thank you so much for having
Jacquie so much.
Your time and everything it was super, super useful. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.